and welcome to the first full episode of my worst. Uh, I, I can't do this, Janice. I'm gonna get. I can't. Ow! 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 Geez, fine. I'm gonna finish. Fine. Fine. Hello again, and welcome back to my worst challenge. Today we're reviewing Jupiter Ascending, uh, Jupiter Ascending, and Seventh Son. So first we're going to talk about Jupiter Ascending. We're talking about Jupiter Ascending. Yeah, I know. You can't hear me, right? It's really weird. But that's how Eddie Redmayne, the villain of the movie, talks the entire time. He has a few spots where he yells, maybe one spot where he talks normally, but ultimately it's just a really weird choice. I think they're trying to make him creepy. Anyways, movie Jupiter Ascending is about a woman named Jupiter, because the dad was obsessed with Jupiter, and Jupiter very coincidentally has a space station inside of it. Yeah, I know. But all that aside, the silliness is there, but they just don't push it enough. This movie could have been really good. Ultimately, it just feels like they were dealing with an unfinished plot. I mean, there are so many weird decisions. Like, most of the time, people just go from one place to the next to the next. 1 minute, they're here. And the next, they're here. And then they're here. And then here. They just sort of bounce all over the place. It's just strange, more than anything. Which is confounding because the Wachowskis clearly have an eye for something. I mean, Speed Racer. They had cars doing kung fu. How awesome is that? Yes, very awesome. But in that movie, we also got a strange decision of including an episode 1-esque subplot of business. The movie also touches upon several sci-fi cliches, which is fine, but they don't really make any of them interesting. I mean, there's even a 5-minute spot that's basically Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, going through bureaucracy and showing how slow it is, all to make a DMV joke. Seriously, I think that's the point of the entire scene. More to the point of how I think the script wasn't finished. When Mila Kunis finds out that she's somehow the reincarnated queen of a galaxy, I don't know, they're not quite clear. Anyways, someone calls her Your Majesty. It takes about 10 minutes before she asks, "What do you mean, Your Majesty?" Seriously, 10 minutes. Why? Why? Another weird thing, the stakes are constantly changing, yet remaining the same. See, we're introduced to the concept that there's space police, and everyone respects their authority, except when they don't want to. Sort of makes them superfluous. And speaking of superfluous, for some reason, the antagonists are two brothers and a sister. The sister basically serves no purpose, so he could have just rolled her into the one brother. In the end, the movie would have served better if it just went for the full-on silly. It tried to be serious way too long, and I think it was trying to say something about humanity. I don't know, maybe if they weren't trying to make a point, it could have also been better. They should have just gone full-blown silly, because I could accept stupid action, because the action looks great in this movie. Or the main male and female falling in love for no good reason. But they just don't. The movie's just sort of there. So yeah, Jupiter Ascending, it's not the worst movie ever made, but it's just sad. The second movie I saw was The Seventh Son, featuring Jeff Bridges acting with his mouth 90% of the time. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to be said about Seventh Son. It's just sort of there. I mean, it's a good action movie, but nothing really surprising happens. The action scenes are good, the special effects are great, the story's easy to follow, the acting's good, but it's just sort of there. I'm actually quite disappointed by how unsilly it was. I mean, this is a Legendary picture. Legendary's movies have been amazing. Dracula Untold was great when it comes to silly. I mean, a Woman fell off a 200-story building. Exaggerating? And didn't go splat. There was so much fun in that movie. And in this, not really. It's like the entire movie relied on Jeff Bridges' mouth. Most of the things he said were supposed to be funny, but were just delivered funny. That doesn't count. Sure, everybody's acting is just great. I mean, Julianne Moore is just bringing it. And there's a surprise appearance by Olivia Williams, who, for some reason, even though she's British, and this takes place in a very British-looking setting, is speaking with a flat American accent. I don't know. Weird decisions abound. It's a nice story, don't get me wrong, but ultimately just not enough happening to keep my interest. So, disappointing. And ultimately, that leads to the end of a very disappointing episode to me. Again, I was hoping both of these movies would be much more silly and give me more to talk about, but they're both just sort of there and just sort of full of weird decisions. Now, Jupiter Ascending, I cannot recommend seeing, though. Seventh Son, I can't not recommend seeing it, but again, it's just sort of boring and dull. But if you want to see an interesting character piece on Jeff Bridges and his acting mouth, go for it. So I don't know when I'm going to be back next. I'm not sure when the next big budget bad action movie is going to be coming out. Someone suggested The Kingsman, but that looks a little too self-aware and too purposely over the top. And even if it's bad, just not the right kind of bad. So I guess we'll see. So until next time, so long, and I apologize for nothing.